Hey, Mr. Zebarth. I'm answering our question exploration with my questions, as well as how it correlates with Catcher in the Rye and how it correlates with my personal life. So, my first question is, how does someone express who they are through words? I think it's really difficult to express yourself through words. Actually, it just depends on the person. I think it can be difficult for them, but some other people like to describe who they are through pictures, movement, gestures. But through words, I think that people generally write stories about themselves. I would assume like autobiographies and narrative stories about their life and how they've acted through certain things. In Catcher in the Rye, I think it was super interesting. The way it was written is from his point of view, so he's describing himself. But what's interesting is he's in a mental, or he hints that he's in a mental institution. Knowing this, we can realize that this story isn't coming from the correct perspective. Like, there will be some alterations to certain situations, very dramatic responses, like when he's being pat on the head and he feels like it's kind of flitty. Like, that is just, I mean, it could be very fatherly, it could be very flitty. Who knows, unless you were at the actual situation. He also tries to exaggerate his age, Holden, and it's a little bit like, we get it, you're trying to stretch the story a little. Hey guys, I'm back to finish this post because I just got back from graduation, you can tell. So I want to go back to the topic where I was talking about the way people today create things through words, or express themselves who they are through words. I think blogging is actually really helpful. I noticed that during the year when we blogged, I was able to say like how I felt and be honest. Even though I know some people reading it, I was able to just express my feeling without judgment. Yeah, I just didn't like care what they thought because I needed to get my feelings out there somewhere. And I've been actually noticing since I was younger, I blogged. And
it's 9 o'clock.
Sorry about that. That's my alarm. It's actually really helpful and it's good for personal growth because I need somewhere to talk about who I am and express my feelings and like what like causes me to spin or what causes like problems in my life. And I needed like a place to put that without like offending anyone or having like my parents have a say or just personal place for myself. And I found that blogging was really helpful, even though if I was like writing complete gibberish and it was nonsense to other people, I would know what it meant. And that was actually really helpful for me. I thought that was super good and super helpful because I think it's really nice to like be able to read back and see your personal growth and whatnot. And I honestly think it's really good, but some other people would say different. I know that another form of blogging would be like journaling or, yeah, journaling. I know a couple of my friends journal, my brother journals, and they say that it's essentially the same thing. It's really helpful because you can look back on what you have and then you can continue to grow and see what you can improve on. I've noticed that through social media, I'm able to see that, like, even if they're like little things, if I want to express like I'm angry or like how I feel about a certain situation, or like let's say Hillary Clinton going into office, I personally don't like her, and like I was able to express that through a little post on Twitter or something. And it's interesting to me because I feel like you go far back enough, you're able to see like, whoa, like who you were before and who you've become now and how much you've grown, like mentally, physically, like politically, just all in all shapes and sizes, in all shapes and ways you've grown, and that's like a huge deal for people. And I find that it's much more prevalent now because people are willing to talk about how they feel, even if they're going to get judged for it, because they can't go anywhere anymore. They don't feel comfortable with a person, so they have an outlet. Like laying down on the couch and telling some kind of therapist how you feel can be very uncomfortable. And I think this is a good outlet for those people who don't like to talk essentially like talk, they prefer to write, and I'm definitely one of those people. I prefer to write notes instead of like hear them. I don't learn as well, and it's definitely come to the light this year in AP Bio that like if I would take notes and if I like outline everything, I will learn much better. Okay, so my second question is, what's the most effective way I can express myself? It's about to get real personal, so if you don't want to keep watching, you can get out. So I have a hard time when it comes to expressing myself and like truthfully. Like, okay, yeah, people know me as like someone who's going to say my feelings out loud, and I'm going to be straightforward with who I am and like how I feel. And if you don't like me, leave, get out. Like, some people can't handle how real it gets with me. But I like to put my feelings underneath the surface because I don't think that other people should know about it. I don't think it's like something that I should share with anyone other than maybe my brother, my sister, and maybe like one other person that I think is like willing to hear and has good feedback. But other than that, I'll probably just keep my feelings and like my expressions about certain topics to myself. Like how I feel about myself personally, I really don't like to tell people because I'm very insecure, and it's hard for me to like talk about this out loud and tell like a camera that I really have problems and I'm like actually very severely depressed, and I wasn't willing to admit this until like I would say a couple weeks ago, until I was going back through my feed of Facebook and I noticed, and I was like, this is interesting because I had personal problems and it's still like overlapping to my high school life, and it's very like, it's kind of crazy. It's been 6 years since my first like very, very dark post, and now it's coming back around, and I'm like, wow, like, it's crazy to me that I still have this going on in my life. Actually, something I found interesting and that like really touched me a few days ago was that my teacher wrote in my yearbook, Senor Gonzalez, shout out. He wrote, even though you try to act all tough, you are a very kind person. And that is something like, no one has ever called me out on that. Like, I'm very, very like rough on the exterior. Like, I don't want people to know that I have a soft side and that I'm willing to, I don't know, I have this like very, very loving and caring side. Actually, many people know that, but it's like you have to dig pretty deep to find it. And I don't think there's an effective way for me to express that other than someone getting close to me. And I do a pretty good job of sheltering people, and that's like a huge problem of mine. And I'm trying to work on it and like grow and continue. But I think an effective way is for me to just be honest with myself, and I need to stop lying to myself and telling myself that things are okay, because like if they're not, they're not. And I need to like face that fact. Because sometimes if I'm not like honest with myself, that can be like a huge issue, and that can cause more and more problems, and like just dig myself into a deeper hole, and it's just not worth it. You know? In Catcher in the Rye, I don't think Holden really has a problem with expressing himself. I think he does a really, really good job of that. I don't even know. I can pull out any places, like just calling people phonies and like just calling people out to their faces, or like I don't even know. There's just so many things I'm thinking of, like just I'm saying like a lot. Sorry. He's so real to himself, essentially, like how he feels, but he's not real when he tells a story. So his narrative is like very stretched out and like, oh man, like I look 21 and I'm like this shit. But he's not really like he stretches the story, and you can see that, but he's real when he meets people. Like he realizes that like what's his face? The dude from Harvard or the Ivy League is a phony. And I can totally see that. I know very many people that are super fake, and they're going to these high scale like rich schools, and I'm just like, you belong there, because probably everyone there is fake as you are. They're not willing to help. And but I think he does a pretty good job of expressing himself just through writing. Like, this book, I think, is like a perfect outlet for him to like say how he feels and just have people read it. Like, I'm saying like so much. For him to say how he feels about things and just have it be there. Like, he doesn't need it to be judged by anyone, but it's a good way for him to write how he feels and compare it to reality. And I don't know, that was just like a mess of thought, and I hope that was worth it. Like, listen. Sorry. So this is the end of this. It's my dog Max, by the way. I actually really liked this project. I thought it was super interesting, and like I was able to get my feelings out there, and I felt comfortable doing it. And I think this will open a lot of doors for me, because I think I will continue to vlog my feelings and whatnot, because I actually feel very comfortable, and I feel like I can be honest with myself, because essentially I am talking to myself. And I just want to thank Mr. Zebarth for this really great idea, because I think I should do this more often personally, and like, instead of just correlating my thoughts and ideas with this book. Yeah, I know it's kind of boring. But just with certain situations in your life, like how I feel about college, because like I have a lot of things. I'm saying like a lot. I have a lot of things coming up, and it's gonna be stressful, and I need somewhere to. I need an outlet to put all these feelings, and a place to essentially be honest with myself. And I think this would be a lot easier than blogging. Oh my. And this would be a lot more effective. I would feel comfortable doing this every day. I think it's a great idea, and I definitely would recommend other students to do this for any book they read, or anything that's going on in their life, because it's really important to be able to be honest with yourself and be comfortable talking. Because once you get out into college in the real world, you're going to need to network and meet new people and figure out how to get a job. And this is a good start, and I think this would be an important way to learn from yourself without having anyone like criticize you, and you can just look back and be like, dude, what am I doing? Or being like, that's kind of weird. And if you want to join BBM, it's going to be really helpful towards your BBM application, because obviously I'm not good at making videos.